I came home from the hospital to blank walls. 15 years of collecting. Gone. My mother said she was helping me. My brother called it hoarding. The auction house called it something else entirely. They threw away what they thought was junk. Thrift store frames. Weird paintings nobody understood. The kind of stuff that clutters an apartment and embarrass a family. They had no idea what they'd actually done. Want to know what trash sells for when the right people see it? Stay with me, because the number I'm about to show you will ruin them. But first, drop your country and the time where you are right now in the comments. And if you like stories where the receipts do all the talking, hit that subscribe button. You're going to want to see every page of this. Let me take you back to where it started, because they had no idea what they'd just thrown away. Growing up, I was the odd one. While my brother played sports and my mom hosted book club, I spent weekends at estate sales. I'd come home with a painting or a print, something I'd bought for $20, and my family would roll their eyes. Why do you waste money on that? It's just going to collect dust. You have weird taste. I didn't care. I loved it. I bought my first piece at 22. A small oil painting at an estate sale. $75. The woman running the sale said it had been in her grandmother's attic for decades. I took it home, cleaned the frame, researched the signature. That's when I got hooked. Over the next 15 years, I taught myself. I took community college art history classes. I read auction catalogs. I built relationships with small dealers and conservators. I learned to spot quality under grime and neglect. I haunted thrift shops, estate sales, online auctions. I was patient. I wasn't rich, but I was methodical, and I documented everything. Every piece I bought went into a 3-ring binder. Date, purchase price, provenance notes, condition. I photographed front and back. I kept receipts. I uploaded everything to a cloud folder. 2 years ago, I had the whole collection appraised for insurance. The appraiser spent 6 hours in my apartment, taking notes, cross-referencing auction records. I kept that appraisal in my files. I never thought I'd need it to prove my own family had robbed me. Last April, I went into the hospital for emergency surgery. Appendicitis turned into complications. I was supposed to be there 2 days. It turned into 6. On day 2, my mom called. "Honey, let us help. We'll check on your apartment, water your plants, grab your mail." I was groggy, grateful. I gave her the spare key. 3 days later, I woke up to a text from my brother. It was a photo, garbage bags piled on the curb outside my building. The text read, "Finally got rid of all that junk. Apartment looks normal now. You can thank me later." I sat up so fast the IV line pulled. I called him. "What did you throw away?" "Relax, it was garbage. Old frames, random paintings. We donated some, tossed the rest." "You threw away my art?" "Art? Come on." It was clutter. The place looked like a hoarder's house. I heard my mom in the background. "We did you a favor, sweetheart." That apartment was starting to look unhealthy. I couldn't breathe. "Where did you donate it?" "Which location?" "I don't know." "Does it matter? It's gone. You should be thanking us." He hung up. I discharged myself against medical advice that afternoon. I had to see it with my own eyes. I walked into my apartment and froze. The walls were blank. Nail holes, dust shadows where frames had hung for years. I opened the storage closet. Empty. The flat file drawer where I kept prints. Empty. The shelf where smaller pieces had been stacked. Gone. I sat down on the floor. My stitches pulled. I didn't care. I called my mom. "How could you do this?" "Sweetheart, you're being dramatic. None of that was worth anything. You had no right. We had every right. You were in the hospital. We were helping." I called my brother. "You need help. This reaction proves it. You're obsessing over literal trash." It wasn't trash. Then why was it in a 1-bedroom apartment instead of a gallery? I couldn't answer that. Not in a way he'd understand. I hung up. I sat on the floor for an hour, crying. 15 years. Erased in 72 hours. I thought I'd lost everything. But I had something they didn't know about. Something they couldn't throw away. I waited until I could breathe again. Then I opened my laptop. I opened my cloud drive. 1,247 photos. Organized by acquisition date. Every single piece I'd ever bought. Photographed. Cataloged. Artist name when known. Medium. Dimensions. Purchase price. Condition notes. Provenance. I scrolled through. My hands were shaking. Then I opened the folder marked insurance. The appraisal. 22 pages. Certified fine art appraiser. Dated 18 months ago. I scrolled to the last page. Total replacement value. $248,000. I read it 3 times. My mother had thrown away $250,000, and she had no idea yet. I sat back. My brain was spinning. Then I saw the voicemail notification. I'd missed a call that morning. A name I recognized. An auction house. Mid-sized, reputable. I'd been on their mailing list for years. I played the message. "Hello, this is Adrian from Cartwright Auctions. We recently acquired a landscape piece and traced the previous owner to you. Could you give us a call? We'd like to discuss a potential consignment." I called back immediately. And that's when the number got much, much bigger. Before I tell you what the auction house said, let me tell you what my family did next. I started trying to recover pieces. I called every donation center in the area. Goodwill, Salvation Army, local charities. A few workers remembered the load. A man and an older woman. Tons of frames and artwork. Most of it had already been processed, sold, destroyed. I checked online marketplaces, Craigslist, Facebook, OfferUp. I found 2 pieces listed. I bought them back. My family found out I was looking. That's when it got ugly. My brother started a group text with extended family, cousins, aunts, uncles. She's obsessing over literal trash. I'm worried about her mental state. My mom called. "Maybe you should move back in with me for a while. You're clearly not coping well on your own." Then my brother called separately. I talked to a lawyer friend. "If you're having a breakdown, we can get power of attorney to help you." That's when I understood. This wasn't about helping me. It never had been. They wanted me out of my apartment. My rent-controlled lease in a neighborhood that had gentrified around me. They wanted control, and they were setting the stage to take it. I didn't respond. I just took screenshots of everything. Then the auction house called me back, and everything changed. Adrian from Cartwright called. "We found 3 pieces at an estate liquidation warehouse. They'd been donated and resold in bulk. One of them flagged in our system." "Which one?" "A small abstract landscape. Oil on board. Signed lower right. Do you remember it?" I did. I'd bought it for $300 at an estate sale 4 years ago. "We'd like to offer it in our May auction. Conservative estimate, $18,000 to $24,000. I almost dropped the phone. "Do you have others?" he asked. I took a breath. "I have documentation for 387 pieces. My family threw them away while I was in the hospital." Silence. "Can you send me your inventory?" I sent him the cloud folder that night. A week later, a FedEx envelope arrived. Cartwright Auctions letterhead. 12 pages. I flipped to the summary. Total estimated auction value. Conservative. $782,000. Highlighted lots estimated over $350,000. I read it 3 times. Then I scheduled a consultation with an attorney who specialized in art law and civil theft. Now I had the number, and I knew exactly what it would cost them. Before I made that call, I did some digging. I needed to understand why they'd done this. Really done this. My brother had divorced 6 months earlier. The records were public. I pulled the filing. Liabilities listed. $127,000. Credit cards. Personal loans. My mother's name appeared twice. Co-signer. Then I remembered something. A clause in my lease. I pulled the document. Tenant may add 1 family member as co-tenant with landlord written approval. My apartment was rent-controlled. I paid $1,400 a month. Market rate for the same unit was now over $4,000. I went back through my texts with my brother, months back. There. A thread I hadn't been included on, but my cousin had forwarded to me later. My brother to my mom. "Once she's back at your place, I'll talk to the landlord. A unit like that could sublet for $4,000 easy." There it was. It was never about helping me. It was never about my mental health. It was about his debt, her co-signed loans, and my lease. They needed me out so he could move in. So he could sublet it illegally and cover his bills. The art was just in the way. I printed everything. Then I made 1 call. I hired an attorney who specialized in art law and property conversion. Her name was Victoria. She'd handled cases involving stolen collections and estate disputes. We met over Zoom. I walked her through everything. The hospital stay, the key, the texts, the garbage bags, the documentation, the appraisals, the auction house valuation. She took notes. Then I showed her the motive. My brother's debt, the co-signed loans, the lease clause, the sublet text. She looked up. "This is textbook conversion, and you have everything we need. We filed a police report first. Theft and destruction of property valued over $100,000. A detective was assigned. Property Crimes Division. Then Victoria drafted a demand letter. 48 pages, tabbed sections, photo inventory, insurance appraisal, auction house valuation, ownership documentation, proof of sole tenancy, evidence they'd exceeded any reasonable scope of help, screenshots of the group texts, the sublet plan, the debt filings, and a demand, $782,000, or settlement negotiation within 10 business days, plus a mutual restraining order if contact continued. We sent it certified mail to my mother and my brother. We copied his divorce attorney. Strategic pressure. I didn't want revenge. I wanted restoration, and I wanted them to never touch my life again. They had 10 days to respond. They used 9 of them to panic. On day 9, their attorney requested a settlement conference. They wanted to avoid a civil suit, and they definitely wanted to avoid criminal exposure. We met at Victoria's office. Conference room. Long table. I sat on one side with Victoria. My mother and brother sat across from us with their attorney. They walked in looking annoyed, like this was an inconvenience. They left looking destroyed. Victoria opened her laptop, turned on the projector. Let's review the evidence. Slide 1. My photo inventory. 387 works. Organized, cataloged, dated. Slide 2. The insurance appraisal. $248,000. Slide 3. The auction house valuation. $782,000. Highlighted lots over $350,000. My brother's face went pale. Slide 4. The text message. Once she's back at your place, I'll talk to the landlord. Unit like that could sublet for $4,000 easy. My mom looked at the floor. Slide 5. The police case number. Theft. Destruction of property. Potential charges. Theft by conversion, fraud, conspiracy. Their attorney held up a hand. We'd like to discuss settlement terms. The negotiation took 3 hours. Their homeowner's insurance had a liability cap of $100,000. My brother would liquidate his car and take a loan against my mother's retirement account for another $40,000. $140,000 total. No admission of guilt, but a signed binding agreement, a no-contact clause. If breached, the full lawsuit would be filed within 24 hours and criminal charges pursued. A written retraction sent to every family member they'd contacted, correcting the narrative about my mental state. My brother's hand shook when he signed. My mother wouldn't look at me. Victoria slid the final agreement across the table. If you breach any term, we will file the full civil suit and cooperate with the district attorney's office on criminal charges. Are we clear? They nodded. I signed. They signed. It was over. I walked out of that office and didn't look back. The settlement money came in 2 payments. The insurance payout within 15 days. My brother's portion 6 weeks later, $140,000. Meanwhile, I kept searching. I found 12 pieces total. 3 from Cartwright, 9 from online resellers who'd bought them from donation centers and thrift shops. I bought them back when I could. Some I had to let go to other collectors. The prices had already climbed. Cartwright sold 9 pieces for me over the next year. Total hammer price, $67,000. My insurance company issued a partial payout for the unrecovered works, $62,000. Settlement, auction sales, insurance. Total recovery, $269,000. I'd still lost over $500,000 in destroyed or unrecovered art. But it was enough. Enough for justice. Enough for a fresh start. I moved to a new apartment. Better neighborhood. Secure building. Climate-controlled storage unit with full insurance. I started rebuilding my collection. Slowly. Carefully. I installed cameras. I updated my will and estate documents. And I established something new. The Second Chance Art Fund. A $25,000 endowment for community college students studying art history or conservation. Kids like me. The ones whose families don't get it. As for my family, I heard through a cousin that my brother filed for bankruptcy 4 months after the settlement. My mom sold her house and moved to a smaller condo. I felt sad when I heard. Not victorious, just sad. We haven't spoken in 18 months. I'm in therapy, processing the violation and the grief of losing family ties. But I'm okay. I didn't win. Not fully. But I survived. And I kept collecting. Here's what I learned. Your passion isn't worthless just because someone else calls it junk. Document what matters to you. Protect it like it's gold. Because to you it is. And set boundaries like steel. Never hand your keys to someone who's never respected your dreams. Now I want to hear from you. Would you have settled for $140,000? Or would you have pushed for the full amount in court? And what's the one thing you collect or love that someone else thinks is junk? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if you made it this far, if this story taught you anything about boundaries and receipts, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. We've got more stories coming. More receipts. More justice. Thanks for listening. One last thing. This story is a fictionalized dramatization for entertainment purposes. It is not legal or financial advice. If you're facing a similar situation, consult with a licensed attorney in your jurisdiction. Take care of yourselves and protect what you love.